remember Mr. Williams like it was today. A 70-year-old man hospitalized for congestive heart failure. He spent several days stabilizing before being discharged home. On his kitchen table, 8 prescription bottles, 2 of which were changed following his discharge. The family confused 2 of the medications and gave him the wrong doses. Over the next few days, Mr. Williams developed increased shortness of breath, leg swelling, fatigue, and he gained significant weight. Believing these signs and symptoms were simply part of the recovery process, the family waited. By the time they recognized something was seriously wrong with Mr. Williams, he was readmitted with worsening heart failure. He later passed away. I watched many patients like this begin recovery in the hospital to be discharged, only to return days later. Not because the diagnosis was wrong, but because once they walked through their own front door, the coordinated, structured treatment and recovery system provided by the hospital, the physicians, the nurses, the pharmacists, the therapists, case managers, all disappeared. Families are handed medication instructions they don't fully understand, appointments they struggle to keep, and recovery plans and responsibilities they're not trained to manage. My name is Dr. Harold Barletta, and I'm the founder of Red Lotus Circle, a skilled transition care company focused on the highest risk period in healthcare, the first 72 hours after hospital and rehab discharge. Healthcare organizations do an outstanding job treating patients inside the hospital. The gap in continuity of care widens during the transition from hospital to home. Those first 3 days can determine whether recovery has the best chance to succeed or whether the patient ends up back in the hospital. I watch this happen far too often. That gap became Red Lotus Circle's mission. Every year, more than 35 million Americans discharge from hospitals and rehab centers. For most patients, discharge is treated as the end of care. But in reality, it represents the beginning of the most vulnerable period in the entire recovery process. Families are overwhelmed. Medications are misunderstood. Follow-up appointments are missed. Transportation isn't coordinated. Sometimes the home environment is unsafe. Continuity of care is interrupted. Questions go unanswered. Small problems often become emergencies. A patient's home recovery initially appears to be going well. Within a short time, subtle changes like reduced appetite, increased weakness, and mild confusion begin to appear. Those changes can easily be overlooked, especially for family members who've never experienced caring for someone after a hospitalization. By the time the seriousness of the situation becomes clear enough to take action, a patient requires readmission. Experiences like this convince me that the first 72 hours are when trained observation can make the greatest difference in short-term and long-term recovery. Hospital staff work diligently and efficiently to stabilize patients during acute and chronic conditions. Yet once the patient arrives home, often scared and confused, suddenly that coordinated team is replaced by an exhausted spouse, an adult child, or the patient finds themselves completely alone. That is the problem Red Lotus Circle exists to solve. The consequences can be enormous. I say can be. Nearly 14% of discharged patients are readmitted within 30 days. Every preventable readmission costs the healthcare system over $16,000. This isn't just a financial problem, it's a human problem. Families lose confidence. Patients lose momentum. Recovery slows down. Independence begins to decline. The first 72 hours can determine whether recovery moves forward or backwards. This problem is getting larger, not smaller. America's population continues aging. Chronic conditions continue getting worse. More healthcare is moving from hospitals into private homes. The home healthcare market is expected to grow from $310 billion to $474 billion by 2030. That trend is irreversible. More patients will recover at home. home health care is becoming more valuable every day. Instead of waiting for preventable issues to develop, Red Lotus Circle intervenes immediately. We begin working with patients before discharge. Then we remain intensely involved throughout the 72 hours at home, translating discharge plans and physician's orders into manageable steps, providing medication support, clinical observation, appointment coordination, transportation support, family communication, recovery monitoring, home safety and risk factor inspections. We improve the continuity of care, meaning patients' care continues without interruption as they move from one healthcare setting to another. We do not replace physicians' orders. We do not replace the discharge plan. We connect them together during the most dangerous window in recovery. Our philosophy, reduce preventable decline while helping people recover safely at home. Is this a big enough opportunity? I believe it is. Approximately 12 million discharges represent high-risk transitions likely to benefit from the highest level of post-discharge support. We don't seek to serve millions immediately. Our year one objective is 365 patients. Approximately one successful transition per day is the target. That disciplined focus allows us to prove the model before expanding geographically. Our business model begins with referrals, hospital referrals, rehab facility referrals, physicians, case manager referrals, veteran organizations. Each referral enters a transition pathway following structured protocol. Planning begins before discharge. Services begin immediately after discharge. The first 72 hours receives intense support. Our value is turning a fragmented transition into coordinated recovery, giving patients a better chance to heal safely at home while creating value for families, referral partners, and the healthcare system itself. Every successful transition strengthens referral relationships. We estimate an average service packet of $2,500 per transition. One transition a day in year one produces over $900,000 in projected revenue. As referral relationships mature, patient volume increases without fundamentally changing the operating model. By within year five, serving over 1,800 patients projects revenue exceeding $4.5 million. The important point isn't only revenue. It's that growth comes from repeating one highly structured, standardized process. I'm a medical doctor, I'm a combat veteran, and I'm an educator. I've spent more than 20 years helping people during some of the most difficult and frightening moments of their lives. My clinical knowledge allows me to recognize problems generic caregivers often miss, such as dehydration, delirium, signs of infection, increased weakness, and shortness of breath. My military experience taught me discipline, leadership, and most important, execution. My experience as an educator taught me how to simplify complex information into manageable steps families can execute at home. I combine all three into one mission. Today, we're seeking $100,000. The investment will allow us to complete licensing, recruit caregivers, build referral relationships, establish operational reserves, and launch our first service area. We are not another home care agency. We're closing one of healthcare's most dangerous gaps. Every hospital discharge represents a moment of uncertainty. The hospital treats the illness. Red Lotus Circle protects the transition and the recovery. Mr. Williams can never be brought back, but the medication error that changed his outcome reminds us why this company exists. We make sure warning signs are recognized, medications are understood, and families are supported before small mistakes become life-changing tragedies. Come, join us. Help us build a veteran-led, medical doctor-founded solution that transforms one of healthcare's most vulnerable moments into one of its safest. Thank you.